There's some very interesting research that's come out in the last 10 years by a professor at Harvard named Ellen Langer. And her work has focused on kind of the gestalt of the learning environment. Her work has been on what's been called mindful, quote-unquote, mindful learning. And she has a book called The Power of Mindful Learning, also a book called Mindfulness, which has some brilliant and elegant research in it. At any rate, she's proven pretty well that the gestalt, or the way we learn, the environment in which we learn, has a tremendous effect on the way we apply what we've learned. So if you learn navigation in an absolutely boring, rigid environment, where you learn, okay, touch this key, click here, use this mouse, your mind not engaged, you're essentially going through the motions, you're probably looking at your BlackBerry to see what else is happening in the world. You're not there. If you learn navigation inside of ERPsim, you're there. I mean, you are there 100%. You're so there that you might have sweat rolling off of your brow because you're so involved in the process. So that's why we believe that it has tremendous value, even in these fairly low-level, quote-unquote, low-level applications. So what we do in ERPsim is we say, well, of course you have to learn some transactions. These things are, you have to do this. You have to learn a little navigation. You have to learn how to talk to SAP using its language, because it is indeed it's a software product. But the main interest here, the main concern is you've got a business to run. Run the business. Can you manage your cash? Can you manage your inventory? Can you manage your production line? What are you going to do about marketing? And what we find is that people from all areas of the organization begin to get very excited and very interested. And the conversations between people who used to be in silos using this software, they actually start to talk. But wait a minute, you can't do that because of what I know from my silo. And then the information starts to flow. People begin to use that ERP, and the value actually begins to grow exponentially, because now we have not only an exceptionally powerful piece of software, but we have the even more powerful piece of software that works between people's ears. They're talking to each other, they're communicating, and they're creating strategy using an exceptionally powerful tool to implement that strategy. And then they see that by doing that, they can win. They can win this very difficult, very complex game called business. And that's when the fun really begins. The model that they actually have to develop within their team is a model of both kind of careful observation and quick adjustment. Observing taking action, observing the results of that action, and then adjusting, taking a new action. So they can be in a continuous kind of information loop about what's going on. If a company, a team says, oh, we can win by doing A and we're going to just stick to that, there's a statistical possibility that it could work, but it's small because they're not really thinking about the variables. The variables that they have to be watching are actually in the game there's quite a few. And since it's the full cash-to-cash cycle and they're trying to make money, they obviously have to be quite concerned about their forecasting and their procurement process. They have to be looking at how much inventory they're actually holding at any given time. Is it enough? Is it too much? Either one is going to cause problems. They have a production line, and if they're not careful, they're going to find that production line is not running all the time. So if the production line is not running all the time, again, they're not going to be able to make money. They have the opportunity to invest in marketing. They invest a little bit in marketing, it might be effective. If they invest a lot in marketing, they could lose a lot of money. They have an inventory of finished goods. As long as there's goods to sell and they've got their pricing right, they'll continue to sell. But what they often find is, oh my gosh, we've just run out of our best product, and we haven't ordered the materials we needed to create that product, and they have to begin the whole cycle. And of course, through this cycle, there are delays. So the thinking that actually has to occur to create a smooth flow of saleable, profitable product takes 3 or 4 people coordinating their activities and effectively using the ERP to make decisions and to keep that and to keep the adjustments going. And again, it's interesting as you watch. As soon as they think, now we've got it, this really works, well, of course, another team might come into the market with that product or a similar mix, undercut their price, and now they have to find a new way to make money. So there's lots and lots of thinking involved. A lot of this stuff is kind of theoretical about learning and concept about business and how we get people to learn, to behave, to change behavior. What I think I haven't mentioned yet is it's a lot of fun. It's fun because people get into teams, because they get excited, because they're enjoying themselves, because they're laughing, because they're winning, because they're losing. And the event itself becomes kind of, I'll use the word, it becomes kind of joyous. People are really enjoying themselves, and they'll get through the 2 days or the 1 day or even the 2-hour event and say, my gosh, that was a lot of fun. And so that's their exit affect, you know, this was fun. But I can give them a test and prove that it wasn't only fun, but they've learned a tremendous amount. And that's why we get very excited about the model, because both they enjoy it, they learn a great deal, and the events actually shift not only their behavior, their knowledge, but also their attitudes.